Alright, so I guess we're really doing this. So, The Marvels is said to suffer from superhero fatigue on its debut. And personally, I disagree 1000%. I never understand when it comes to mainstream media and their obsession with using the term superhero fatigue as an excuse and a get out of jail free card when it comes to criticism, that and next to the oh so popular and prevalent, oh, you all are racist, that's why you don't like it.
Off that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
Honestly, it's just copium at the end of the day. It's pure and utter copium, and I don't understand why the mainstream media outlets keep getting away with this. When the comic book industry, the manga industry, the anime industry has been bustling and hustling for literally since its inception.
Oh my god, bro. Is dick riding all you do?
And has seen no real decline when it comes to the overall financial stability when it comes to that media. And manga being a more prevalent example than American comics, because American comics is also getting political when it comes to almost everything they produce nowadays, that were just controversial storylines that the fans themselves do not want and are getting tired of. Again, not even an example of superhero fatigue, just the overall stagnation when it comes to the overall landscape of the media that they are consuming. I don't understand why they consistently do this. Now, back on hand. So the reason why Captain Marvel did so well as far as like box office wise is not because, oh, she's an intriguing character and her acting just saved the entire project of the movie or anything else of that nature. No, it did well because it was literally coping off of the success off of the Avengers Infinity War that was set to release right after that movie. So of course, it being very so much connected to that universe in that very, very recent time frame, that is why it even reached the heights that it did as far as box office success.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
And again, when we look at Brie Larson as an overall acting figure, her acting is, well, hit or miss to say the least.
No. What did you do to me? You guys wouldn't happen to know how these things come off, would you? No? Fine.
And especially when it comes to the director who is in charge of directing these actors to perform at the height of their ability and to produce the best work they possibly can. But for some reason, for whatever reason, I don't get this thing with Brie Larson. I don't know if this is on purpose, but her political statements, her overall online presence is not very much enjoyable, like at all. Like no one really enjoys Brie Larson as a person.
Is there any competition between the different sects, the different groups?
There's no competition for me because I'm the strongest, so it's just kind of like a different.
Oh, yeah, she let her think that, but yeah.
It's not.
We have a fight.
And she can eat bacon.
I feel like we're fighting right now.
Yeah.
I think it's been an all-day thing. So I was figuring out this character, but very much in the dark, because there was no script to read. There wasn't even. It wasn't all flushed out yet with the Captain Marvel solo film either. Fun being there for all my extra takes.
Trained you up in the apprenticeship.
On and off the screen, like her acting is stilted and it just feels like she's playing a very caricatured version of like hyper stoic male actors of the yesteryear. It just makes no sense to me. Like this is not what people come to enjoy about superhero media. Like her portrayal of Captain Marvel is not even close to being, how you say, captivating to the general wider audience.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
No one cares about this emotionless wooden plank of a character. Like, seriously. And of course, you have characters that are going to be part of the Marvel's project as well that, again, overall fan and even comic book fans do not care for any of these two characters in additions. Hey, small little editor's note. So I was going to talk about this in its own separate video, but since I'm talking about the Marvels now, I might as well get it out of the way. So there's been this thing going on in modern comics where they would try to match up with the MCU. Normally it will be and vice versa. And also, I don't like this idea that, you know, to push, you know, basically force and spoon feed characters down our throat and into popularity. They just put them in all types of media, which they've been doing like egregiously with Ms. Marvel. And like, you can't force an entire fan base to just like a character, no matter how many things you put her in, whether it be movies, TV shows, or even changing her entire origin for that purpose. It just won't work. But that's just my take on this. Anyway, back to the main video. The movie is set for failure, or as some would say, dead on arrival. So it just makes no sense on why Marvel and DC, they are propping up characters that for the most part no one really wants to see on screen. You could argue, oh, some of the more deep and enthralled members of the comic book community would enjoy these characters, but overall mainstream appeal, no. Not at all. It was the same problem with the Eternals movie. Now, of course, you can actually make a very lesser known B-lister character rise into prominence like Iron Man, but it's very, very few that has managed to reach that luck because, again, the writers and directors behind these properties are, again, that is evident on how these movies play out, depending on what their goals are. And if it's to push a political statement, if it's to push some weird agenda that, again, no one really wants to see or hear, then of course no one's going to watch or listen to this. And again, when you just have unentertaining and uninspired stories with unentertaining and uninspired characters, it again sets up a project for failure. And that's what we will be seeing when it comes to the Marvels. I almost can guarantee that this movie is going to bomb horribly, in lack of a better term. And honestly, they deserve it. Marvel has been producing lackluster movies for like over 3-4 years now,
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
not even just movies, just overall projects within Disney Plus. It's just like, what are they doing? Like, realistically, what is the goal here? To push characters, to push weird narratives seeded throughout the movies, for what and to what end? Like, if it's not going to be enjoyable, why consistently produce this and then blame the fans for why your little passion project didn't fall through, when at the end of the day, they're not making stories for the fans. They're making it for whatever political party is in power at the time, or more honestly, whatever agenda is trendy to follow on. And of course, every trend has its life and sell date. And of course, it expires after a while. So yeah, you can get like mainstream media outlets to gossip about it, but will that be translating into numbers or sales? It won't. And we'll see that play through. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's not looking good. Like, this article just like, it breathes just, oh, cookie cutter excuse for Hollywood outlets. Oh, blame it on superhero fatigue, even though at the end of the day, the manga freaking community has never been more bustling than it is right now. With new and inspiring stories being out almost every other year, we can see that that's just not the case when it comes to fatigue. Like, again, the comic book community itself and corporations are still making profits today, even though it's been around for who knows how many decades. So it really just speaks to the absurdity of that claim itself. I just don't understand where it comes from. But at the end of the day, people are going to cope, but they can't really hide the truth. And like, again, something about female superhero movies just kind of make me laugh, especially when you think of like the overall effort, time, and like physical toll it takes on the male actors to just get in shape to look like a superhero. And then you look at these female actresses and they're literally putting in the bare minimum work. Like, I can't tell you how many people were fawning over the buff Natalie Portman physique picture, but then to look at the movie and be like, dang, that's just CGI at the end of the day. Like, they're not even trying anymore. Like, and it just goes to show that, oh, women can do anything a man can do, but when it comes to just overall, you know, competing with the male actors as far as like their dedication, oh yeah, it just falls to the wayside and they just leave it all in post. I just think that's also hilarious to me personally. Like, Brie Larson looked like she's barely 70 pounds wet and she'll look like she'll blow over with a small gust of wind. And meanwhile, you got freaking Chris Hemsworth over here toiling away in the gym, destroying his muscle fibers, getting into the best shape of his life with maybe minimal enhancements. But at the end of the day, I just don't understand this. Like, why do we play this game when it comes to superhero movies nowadays? We know what the real problem is, but instead of criticizing these people for like their shoddy performance when it comes to acting, instead of when it comes to just the overall direction of the characters, no one has anything to say. Like, honestly, if someone has talent and a director that's willing to work with them, you can get almost the best performance out of them, almost 9 times out of 10, if you, again, have a good director. But when it comes to them just hiring actors to play directors, i.e. finding the most popular people as far as directors who are most likely has-beens, or on top of that, not allowing them to reach their potential by giving them more freedom when it comes to what they're willing to do and what they are more likely feeling more comfortable doing. Instead, we get studio-produced movies that are cookie cutter and just insert CGI budget, and of course in whatever scene, and the classic newly improved bait and switch that has been falling Marvel properties more consistently than any other property in the past recent years. So it just sets it up for failure. But at the end of the day, people are gonna eat this stuff up. People are still gonna buy it, chill it, and
Get off that nigga dick, bro. What is you doing?
course, but it won't hide the truth. It won't stop what's really going on here, and that's just Marvel and DC and every other superhero property just wanting to pander for literally nothing other than just mainstream media outrage on whatever social media platform you use. So honestly, it's just corny to me. But hey, I'm gonna be here to just shit on it at the end of the day. And yeah, you guys have a great day, man. Peace. Let me know your thoughts about this whole situation in the comments below. I'm gonna be reading them. So yeah.